If you've ever seen a woman that you wanted to meet, but you felt that you didn't have the courage to approach her, in this video, I want to give you 3 keys that will help you start taking advantage of those opportunities that life is flashing in front of your eyes. My name is Arman, and I've helped hundreds of men unleash their natural attraction to meet and attract the women they desire the most naturally. So the keys I want to talk about are very proven in reality. First of all, I want you to imagine that you have a suitcase. And this suitcase is very special because it has $1 million in it. So I want you to imagine that anytime you're about to approach a woman, what you want to do is to give $1 million to that woman. Well, I want to ask you something. Would you be very afraid of doing that? So if the challenge was a billionaire comes out and gives you $1 million and says, look, you have to give this suitcase away. If you do it, I'll give you a prize. I'll give you $1 million to yourself. But first, you have to give this one to somebody in the street. And that somebody has to be a woman. Well, would you be afraid? Would you have any doubt? Would you have any fear, any uncertainty? No, because you know that, okay, any woman that is walking past you would be super lucky to be approached by you because you're literally giving her $1 million. Well, this is not reality. Or maybe it happens if somebody wants to give me a suitcase with $1 million with this challenge. I'm open for it. You have my email. You can do it. But this is an analogy because I'll tell you that are you worth $1 million yourself? Like you as a person, are you worth only that? Less? More? I'm not talking about the numbers in your bank account, but you as a person. Because I'll tell you that this has to do with offering value. And that's what you're doing if you follow this framework of DCH. So when you approach a woman on the street, anywhere, to have courage to do that, you have to have in your mind that you're going to do something valuable for her. Because if you thought that, okay, you're just going to bother her, it's going to be an inconvenience for her, of course you're going to have any courage at all to approach her. But if you achieve the mentality of, okay, I'm giving $1 million away to a woman on the street every time I approach her, then you're definitely going to have the courage. So how do we go about building that belief that you're actually adding value to the life of the woman in the quantity of $1 million or more? Well, first of all is develop. So if you're watching this video, this step is probably one that is taken care of. So you want to develop yourself. You want to develop yourself as a man. You want to develop every area of your life, your health, your finances, your relationships with all people, your friendships. Because this is going to build up the belief that, okay, I actually have tangible things that I can add into the life of the woman that I'm going to meet. And this is also developing your own self-mastery, your control of your emotions, your ability to make people laugh, to tell good stories, to create interesting conversations, so your communication skills. And when you develop yourself, you start building the belief that, okay, I'm actually somebody valuable, and the women that I see in the street, if they're a good fit for me, then I'm actually adding value to their life. That's going to help you whenever you're having a bit of doubt. You remember, oh, actually, hold on a moment. I logically know that if I approach a woman and we're a good fit, her life is going to be better thanks to that connection. So I'm actually going to have that courage. So first of all, develop. Number 2 is clarity. And this clarity with what you want. Because I'll tell you, it's totally fine if you want to have a period of your life or all of your life where you're looking for just high quality dating in abundance. You're not looking for like just one serious relationship. But it's very important that you have clarity on what you want. So, okay, I actually want that. And if I'm meeting a woman, it's for that goal. It's for the goal of having an amazing time together and enjoying high quality dating together. Or maybe, second option is that you have clarity in your mind that you actually want to find your ideal girlfriend and start a healthy relationship with her. So whenever you're going out there and meeting women, you know that that's what you want. Because I'll tell you, to add value to the life of a woman, you have to know what you want and you have to be honest with your intentions. Because even if you've developed yourself, if you don't have this clarity and this honesty, what happens is that maybe you think, oh, actually, I only want, to enjoy high quality dating in abundance. I don't want to commit to a relationship. And you start feeling this internal chaos because you think, okay, if I approach a woman, maybe she thinks that I want something more. Or even if you approach her and you're not clear with your intentions, then you start getting into these situations where what the woman wants and what you want is not clear, and the situation is negative, is not positive. So you're not actually building the belief that you're adding value to the life of the woman. So in order to build the belief that you actually have a suitcase of $1 million and that suitcase is you, well, you have to develop yourself, you have to have clarity on what you want, and you have to have honesty when you're interacting with a woman on what you actually want. So that's the first key. The second key is to stop judging. So I'll tell you something very funny. Whenever a man tells me, Armin, I'm actually afraid of approaching a woman, I know instantly that that man is judging other people for doing bold things. Because I'll tell you, you cannot escape the mirror law. Your fears and your judgments are just reflected onto each other. So whatever you're afraid of, if you're afraid of approaching women, then you're probably judging others for doing that. And it doesn't have to be super direct on approaching women, but you might be judging people who are bold, maybe on social media. Okay, they're trying out a new business, or they're trying to portray themselves on their Instagram or YouTube or whatever. You're judging those people, and judging doesn't only mean to say things out loud. It can also be in your mind. Because I thought that I could cheat the mirror law by not saying anything, so I would be very polite. I had this myself, I would be very polite with everybody, but in my mind, I was constantly judging. Oh, well, this person is doing that, I'm laughing a bit on them. Oh, he's not going to be successful, or these, just like subconscious things that were going on in my mind. I didn't even notice them. It wasn't like super conscious, but it was happening. It doesn't matter if you don't say those judgments. If you think them, they're affecting you and they're creating those fears. Because one of the biggest fears that men have and that prevent them from having courage to approach women is the fear that all the people are going to judge them. All the people around the woman that they're going to approach. Let's say you see a woman that you really like in a coffee shop. She's having coffee or a tea with a friend or alone. And then she's surrounded by all the people in the coffee shop who are just going about their business. So many men would have the fear of, oh my God, I'm going to approach her in the middle of the coffee shop. All the people around are going to judge me, are going to think bad things about me. And this can be conscious or subconscious. And why do they have this fear? Because they are judging all the people themselves. And when you start removing this, you feel freedom. You feel a sensation of, okay, look, all the people are doing some things with their life. If they're not doing any harm to me or to all people, then I don't even think about it. Oh, this person wants to do that. Amazing. Oh, this person wants to start this business. Amazing. Oh, this person is doing something a bit funny or a bit ridiculous. Yeah, great. Amazing. You stop judging and you feel freedom. And this can be in many, many different areas. Even, let's say, in the gym, you might see somebody who's like very buff and you think, oh, this guy is, roided up. He's using steroids. And like, first of all, you don't know it. And second of all, why are you judging it? It doesn't make any sense. And, I'm talking to myself, okay, because this is something that was happening to me. And when I noticed it, it gave a lot of clarity on many of the fears that I had in life. And it's something that is work in progress. I still have to catch myself. Anytime somebody does something which isn't aligned with how you live, your natural reaction as a human is you have an identity that is being built up and you want to preserve that identity. So you cast a judgment to confirm that identity that you have. So as I was saying before, Let's say you see somebody doing something bold, or let's say you see somebody flexing on social media. This was also something that was in my mind. Whenever I saw somebody flexing in social media, like, typical rappers with their big chains or somebody flex in a car, I would always think, oh yeah, this person is probably broke and is just using his last money to try to flex on social media. Oh, this person is probably, trying to compensate for something. And I would have all of these thoughts that weren't useful to me, but that were causing these fears in different areas. So, whenever you stop judging, the mirror law starts working for you. Because you see that girl that you like in the coffee shop or on the street or anywhere, you see people around that woman, and you just approach having a good thinking. You don't think, oh, the people around are going to think bad things about me. You may even think, I might inspire people around me. And this is actually something that happens. Just as a tangent, it's happened to me that I've approached a woman in the street or in the mall or anywhere. And then whenever I take her number, or even if I don't take her number, then I'm just walking away from the interaction. And then a guy comes up to me and says, bro, what you did was totally epic. And this is something that happens. So you also create that reality whenever you stop judging and you start using the mirror law for you, not against you. And the third key that I want to talk about is what I call the minimum viable action. So you've heard maybe of the MVP, minimal viable product in business. Well, I use it in my own way. It's the minimal viable action. So many men theoretically understand all of this. So they understand, okay, I'm adding value to the life of the woman. The rejection doesn't matter because I already have the no. I'm trying to stop judging people. But Armin, I go out there and I see a woman that I like and I still feel that lack of courage. How do I actually get that courage? How do I build it so that I can start approaching women that I like and having high quality dating life? Well, this is the ultimate solution, which is that whenever you're struggling to do anything, you want to think, what is the minimum viable action I can guarantee? So that, okay, I cannot control, let's say somebody wants a relationship with a woman that they really like, okay? Well, you cannot control when you're gonna get it. You cannot force another person to have a relationship with you. It doesn't work that way. So you don't know if it's gonna happen today, tomorrow, next week, in 3 weeks, in 1 month. But you can control maybe the thing before the relationship, which is intimacy. So, okay, maybe you can go out there, meet a lot of women, get to a point where you have a good connection, you have intimate moments, you have intimacy, and then after meeting so many women, you're gonna stumble upon one that you really like, and you start that relationship. So in that case, the minimal viable action is the intimacy. But maybe you even think, and totally right, okay, Armin, but I cannot control the intimacy part. Maybe I'm having struggles with the fact that women aren't really attracted to me in that way, or I'm not meeting enough women, so I cannot control this. Okay, let's control the date. Maybe you cannot control how it's gonna end, but you can control that you can start having more dates. You can focus your energy on, okay, I cannot control relationship, intimacy, but I can try to control the dates part. And you focus on that. But then you maybe say, okay, Armin, but the dates neither, because maybe the girl, I get her number, but she doesn't reply. She flakes, she tells me that we're gonna meet on Wednesday and finally we don't meet. So I cannot really control the dates. Well, let's try to control the numbers. So you can actually control the fact that you can now go out there, approach women, get numbers, and you don't think about the dates, just think about getting more numbers, and then the dates are gonna come. And maybe you think again, Armin, I cannot control the numbers. Well, then maybe you can control the approaches. So you cannot control whether the woman gives you her number or not, but you can control the fact that you approach. And now we're getting to the point where we're at, which is, Armin, I cannot control the approach because I go out there and I have this fear of this doubt or this uncertainty, and I see a woman that I like and I cannot approach her. I cannot solve this right now. Well, my friend, if you cannot control the fact whether you approach or not, you can at least control the minimum viable action of going out. Which means that, okay, I understand that when you're starting, you cannot control the fact that you see a woman that you really like, and if you have this fear and you're not used to approaching a woman in person, you don't end up doing the approach and you like beat yourself up for it. Okay, I understand. But you can control setting on your calendar 1 hour to go to the center of your city and take a walk. Just think about it this way. You just go out there, take a walk for 1 hour. If you see a woman that you like, you try to approach. But what you actually have to do, no matter what, is going out for 1 hour. And this is something that myself, I did. So I grew up in Barcelona and I was starting to develop this skill, and I even did some approaches, but I still had this fear and I didn't have many of the tools that I'm explaining here. But I thought, you know what? Okay, I cannot control whether I approach a woman or not. I cannot, because there are some women that I want to approach and finally I don't do it. So what I will control is that I'm going to go every day to the center of my city, which was around, there's a square called Plaza Catalunya in Barcelona. And I was going out there literally every day for weeks on end at the start, until I started doing some approaches. And I remember some afternoons that I went out there, I was walking for 2 hours, I didn't talk to anybody, and I went home. And some people might think, what are you doing? You're failing. You're not doing anything. Well, it's totally wrong, because I'm doing the minimum viable action. I'm controlling what I can control. If you have some fear, if you lack courage to approach a woman, what you can control is at least putting yourself in the situation where approaching a woman is possible, so that your brain gets more and more exposed to that same situation. And at some point, you're just like, I'm tired of walking around without doing anything. You see a woman that you like and you take that action. And it's beautiful when it happens. And you're gonna feel such freedom, because on the other side of your fears, if you just cross that door, is freedom. The F of freedom. So once you do it, you're just gonna start feeling more freedom with yourself. But again, this concept not only applies to this part, but I wanted to explain all the process, because I also see some men who later down the road, let's say they're struggling with the fact of they're able to approach women, but they don't get numbers. So they get to a point where they get the courage to approach a woman and they do it again and again and again, but they're struggling to get numbers. Okay, well, forget about the numbers. Just do the approaches. And there are men who actually get quite proficient in going out there, seeing a woman that they like, and getting her number. But they struggle converting those numbers into dates. Well, then forget about the dates. Just focus on the numbers. And there are men I've coached, that have date after date every single week with women that they have approached in person. But they're having trouble connecting with that woman in the date and reaching a point where, in a natural way, intimacy can happen. So forget about intimacy. Just focus on getting more dates. And what does this do to your brain? It just exposes yourself to the blockage that you have. So if you have a blockage of getting the number of the girl, you do approach, and you expose yourself, let's say, to 10 approaches, 10 situations where you try to get the number, you don't get it. Well, number 11 might be your lucky chance, and you finally get it, and you understand, oh, okay, I did something different in this approach to get the number. Or it's just that I connected with this woman. So I forget about the fact that I do one approach, 3 approaches, 5. It doesn't matter. I'm just looking for a connection, and that's it. The same happens with the date, the same with intimacy. If you're struggling to, after you have intimacy with a woman, to keep her around, there's something that you have to change. And this actually was happening to me the first years when I was going out there, approaching women, getting numbers, getting dates, getting intimacy, and a lot of it. But for some reason, I was struggling with the fact of, well, I actually like this girl. I want to see her again and again and again. But things end up a bit cold, and I don't really understand why or how. And I had to solve that as well. I don't want to cover everything in this video, but I just want to cover the fact that the minimum viable action is super useful, not only when you want to get the courage to approach a woman, but also on the later stages of the interaction with her. And after exposing yourself to many of these situations, you just keep going up and up and up and up. And of course, I solved that right now. I'm in a relationship, healthy relationship with a woman that I really like. And that was possible thanks to the fact that I went through all of this process. So just to sum up, the 3 keys to get the courage to approach a woman. First of all, you have to build the belief that whenever you're approaching a woman, you're literally handing her over a suitcase full of money, full of $1 million. And how do you develop that belief? Well, you develop yourself as a man, then you get clarity on what you want, and you're honest with that intention. The second key is that you have to stop judging. And this is non-negotiable because the mirror law, you cannot cheat it. You cannot just stop saying the judgments. You have to actually stop judging. And you have to realize that fears and judgments are a reflection of each other. So whenever you want to break with your fears, you have to break with your judgments. And I'll tell you something funny as well. You can use the inverse as well. So whenever somebody is judging someone and you see it, so somebody comments something negative, let's say somebody comments something negative on social media, it's super easy to say, oh, okay, well, you just told me that you have fear of doing this because you're hating on this. Oh, you're judging somebody for, let's say, flexing on social media. Well, you just told me that you have the fear of conveying your identity and putting yourself out there because you're judging others, so that fear is going to come back to you. So it's a funny little thing that you can use yourself to get insight on the mind of another person. And finally, the M.V.A, the minimum viable action. So if you cannot control the approach because you're not having that courage, at least control the fact that you go out, put it on your calendar. If you're struggling with it, literally set aside 1 hour. If you can 1 hour per week, then do 1 hour per week. If you can do 1 hour per day, 1 hour per day. The more you do, the faster you're gonna get that courage. But if you only have 1 hour per week, you're a high achiever, very busy, totally fine as well. At least you get that momentum going. And I want to end with the story of the golden call. So this is a tool that we used with many clients that were struggling with having the courage to approach a woman, which was that they would set aside a time in the calendar, they would book a golden call with us. And what we would do is that they would have some earplugs and they would be in the center of their city or anywhere where there would be women. And we would be pushing them to approach women. And I'll tell you, this was incredibly effective because when you have an external person pushing you to do something, you can extrapolate this to anything in life and you can think, oh yeah, that's true. Whenever you want to wake up early, if you have somebody who's waking up early next to you and he actually wakes you up and he says, hey, let's go, it's going to be way easier to do it, right? Well, it's the same with an approach. So this is a very, very powerful tool. And the only reason why I have not put this as the key, which is having somebody else pushing you, is that I want you to develop the ability to do this on your own. So to not depend on anybody. The golden calls, it's something that I still do with clients, that I still offer to clients. But it cannot become a crutch. It cannot become something that you need, you know? It has to be something that, was amazing to give you the first push, but then you have to actually do it yourself. And to do it yourself, you need these 3 keys. But if you have any friend that is single as well and you guys have similar type of goals, then actually tell him, hey, my friend, we're gonna go out together and I want you to push me whenever I see a woman that is attractive, or whenever you see a woman that you think I would like, I want you to push me to go approach her. Now, I had done this as well with a friend of mine. Actually, the first approach that I did, I told a friend of mine to go to a library because I was watching some videos back in 2016. No, it was actually 2014 of guys doing pickup, and they were doing it in the library. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna go to the library in Barcelona, We walked around for 2 hours, and then finally I did my first approach. It was with a friend. He didn't push me, but even having him there gave me some extra confidence. So these just an extra thing, an asterisk thing that you can do to give you that initial push. If you have a friend, just tell him, hey, we're gonna go out for 1 hour in the center. I want to approach women. If you see some woman who is attractive, just tell me to go and do it. It's gonna help you to get that initial spark going. But again, the most important are these 3 keys. So that's it on how to get the courage to approach a woman. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're a high achiever who wants to unleash his natural attraction to meet and attract the women that you desire the most, then you can go to armingaribian.com, which is my website, to learn more about all of this process, my story, see if we're a good fit, and book a call with me one-on-one to potentially work together on getting this goal. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you on the next one.